Good morning and welcome to our Superstar Power Implementer of the Month series that we're doing for all of our PowerCircle members and our members here in New Mexico. And I want to thank my guest today, Jimmy Nichols, who's going to be with us to talk a little bit about what he's done in his life and implementing in his business, some significant impact he's had in his business with just implementing some key marketing strategies that we talk about all the time. I'm your host, Wayne Story, and I want to thank you for being with us. We're about growing the New Mexico economy one entrepreneur at a time, and we're going to spend some time over the next few minutes talking about specifically how you and your own business can grow it through specific marketing strategies that you can implement in your business very quickly and get very quick results if you just take some time and take some action. I want to thank you for being with us, Jimmy, and helping us and helping our members know a little bit more about how to get things done, because that's really important to me, and that's one of the reasons why I have this series, is to encourage people to really take some action, because that's the biggest thing I see in most small entrepreneurs is they struggle with actually getting out and doing something. Absolutely. So if you would, tell me a little bit about your background,
Sure.
Where you started in business. First off, tell me a little bit about your business that you have now.
Currently today, we've got different divisions. One main division is Easy Web Creations, where we focus on website design. Then we have Jimmy Marketing that focuses on fulfillment of marketing services. There's the Nichols Consulting Group that does consulting, and Reviews Accelerator is a product that I have for reputation marketing in and of itself. So we basically have these different divisions, and I have different people on my team that help me manage those different divisions. That's where we are today.
As most of you know out there, once a year I spend time, and a bunch of our members from PowerCircle go to the Dan Kennedy Super Conference that's held every year. And what I think is one of the most amazing parts of it is the program that they have every year, where they have the Marketer of the Year contest, and they choose a few of the members from across the United States and the world to come in and present what they did, and then the 1,000 or 1,500 to how many ever there each year vote on who they think did the best job and had the best result. And this year, 2013, back in May, Jimmy was granted the specialty of being the #1 marketer in GKIC for this year. And I would like for you to kind of tell us a little bit about how you got started in business. Let's start there.
Sure. So I've always been very entrepreneurial, and probably a lot of you that are watching this are obviously entrepreneurial. And for me, it was baseball card shows and cutting lawns and shoveling snow as a young child, and always wanted to make a buck and had that entrepreneurial drive. So my mom and dad were very supportive of this at a very young age. 7, 8, 9 years old, I was doing business and just loving every minute of it. So when I was 15, there was a yellow page book on my desk, and I just decided out of the blue, for no real particular reason, to start calling businesses. It was 1997, and the internet was really just starting to boom in a sense. It was. It's still new in general. We look at the whole history of marketing and media, but I called businesses up and asked if they needed a website, and I got about 250 no's. And there was a local jewelry store owner on that, say, 250th call, and he said, "Yeah, can you come over and give me a presentation?" And I said, "Of course." I was so excited to not get hung up on. To say yes to anything. He says, "Well, can you come right now?" And I said, "Of course." But, obviously at 15, I needed a ride. So not only did I have to sell the appointment on the call, I then had to run upstairs and ask Mom to drive me over to the jewelry store. And of course her reaction was, what do we go to a jewelry store for? And she again, so supportive, which is, I'm very grateful for that, because she then waited in the car for over 2 hours while I talked about the web and the internet, and actually sold that first website. And from there I learned about web hosting. So once we built the website, we had to put it somewhere on the internet, and it felt like real estate, but really easy. In a sense that you create this account and you got paid every month, every year for the renewal on this hosting account. So, I didn't have an extraordinary amount of time on my hands, being I was in high school and then later went on to college. But I loved this model. So I used Google AdWords to build the web hosting business. And I still have that hosting business as well. And it came to a point around 2003, 2004 where the cost of the advertising with the bigger players in the Google AdWords market, in a sense, it wasn't cost effective for us to do it anymore. And I had more time on my hands, so I started getting back into design and back into websites. And then as that continued to grow, I decided to go back and offer more services to our existing clients base. And that's where marketing came in, and video marketing, and press releases, and we became a full marketing agency.
What do you think in your process of developing your company over the last few years? What is it you think really began to change your mind about what marketing really was and what it required?
Well, that's easy. For me, it was basically investing and losing over $100,000 of traditional marketing. I did the back page of the Yellow Pages. I did radio. I did newspaper. But all that type of media can work and does work with the right marketing message and the right offer, or a direct response type offer that should be in there. And while I wanted to grow, I had no problem investing in my business, but I wasn't getting the response on my marketing that I needed to. And basically, I was seeking out information on how to get a better return on investment with marketing. And that's basically, one way or another, that's how I found Dan Kennedy, because I was seeking this type of information out. And then when we started testing it and implementing these types of strategies, and I'm sure we're going to get into some of them specifically, but it worked. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm looking for. Invest some money, get a return, reinvest some of the profits, keep doing it. And I was fortunate that the first out of the box direct response marketing piece I did was extremely profitable. We did over 742% return on investment. So
let's talk about that a little bit. Where did you start with this whole thing? Because for a lot of our folks, they only see this thing as, oh, that's just overwhelming. I can't do all of those things I see everybody else doing. It's really about starting with the first little thing and doing something and getting some success out of it and really getting excited about that success. So what was one of the first things you started with?
So our first piece was actually this piece right here. And you can see it's in a plastic bag, and there's this boomerang in there. And I look at it now and I see so many mistakes that I missed out on, but it still worked. And it's because I took action. So, for instance, this back here was completely empty. I could have loaded that thing up with testimonials, possibly a bonus offer or something, order form, anything in there on that back side would have been an improvement to the results that we got. But I didn't even know that you could take this plastic bag, basically put some stamps on there, a shipping address, and just like that, it gets right to the person you wanted to get delivered to through the United States Postal Service.
But nobody responds to that kind of thing, do they?
No, it was unbelievable. We had customers coming in and throwing the boomerang down our hall, and they were like, "This is so fun! We haven't heard from you in a while," because you build this client base, and a lot of times you're always trying to go new, and we forget about our existing clients. So for our existing clients to get a boomerang in the mail, with their name, "We really want you to come back. We miss you." It's funny, and it brings their attention in. So we had 4 different offers on here, which is another mistake that looking back, really want to go with one offer, make it easy for people to lead them down the path you really want them to go down. But this was 742% return on investment for us.
742%.
Yes, yes. And I mean, these boomerangs, I think they're like, I don't know, 40 cents or something. The bags
They're
are 10
negligible.
cents. The postage is a couple bucks. And
one of the things I want you to notice about what he said was he did something. It wasn't perfect. Often I see people waste tons and tons of time getting out there. Oh, it's got to be perfect. I got Wayne, make sure this thing is perfect. Just get some things done, and you will learn in that process. Did you learn some things through the process?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I'm part of a mastermind group. I shared the piece with them. I got feedback from them. And
feedback, is that what they call it?
It's like, oh, why didn't I think of that? And we used that, what we learned, to help us on the next one and get better and better responses. Now, every direct mail campaign that we do isn't 100% profitable all the time, but every one that we do, we learn from. So I consider everything a test. And
now wait a minute. You're in the web business, aren't you?
Yes.
But you're doing things that you're sending out things that aren't in the web area. Why do you do something like that?
Well, I follow one of the biggest companies in the world, Google. Google, which their revenue model is online advertising, uses direct mail to entice business owners that necessarily aren't online. You know, a lot of my market, the small business owner, isn't using the computer, especially the contractor, the doctor, the dentist that's, you know, working with patients. They're not necessarily on the computer. So just because we provide web design and online marketing services, that doesn't mean that our audience of our ideal client that we're working with is actually online. So we use direct mail to get to that audience. But if you just send a postcard or you know, a regular letter, it might just get tossed to the side and never even get to the actual person you're looking to be the decision maker. And that's where we use a lot of this out-of-the-box 3D mail to get through the clutter.
So tell me a little bit about some of the other things that you've done that you think really had an impact in your business.
Well, all of these things, you know, certainly have an extreme impact in our business. And you know, this one in particular is something extremely simple to do. It's a handwritten envelope, so you can see, or you probably can't read it, but basically on the return address, instead of putting my business name, I just put my name, Jimmy Nicholas, and I don't put a suite number. I just put the address, so it looks more like an actual letter that I'd be
more like personal mail.
Exactly, and more apt to just get right past the gatekeeper to who I really wanted to get to, and that's the dentist in this particular case. And this letter here, you know, we've got the $1 million bill stapled on top, and I'm not sure if you share with your group like the Gary Halbert dollar bill letter.
Right. So you stole something from somebody else? Is that what you're trying to say?
Swiped and deployed is what I like to say. But basically, yes, we did this $1 million bill, and the concept is I have something very important to tell you. So I wanted to get your attention. That's why I'm putting this $1 million bill on here, and because what I'm going to share with you has to do with making you more money, I figured it was the perfect tie-in. And then what we're finding tremendous success with is personalized marketing. So on this particular piece, we actually take a screenshot from Google. This is for that review product, review division that we have, and we hand circle the number of Google reviews. In this case, it's 1, but on this other website, which is a more obscure website, they have 472 5-star reviews. So I know the dentist practice is doing extremely well from a service standpoint, but not everybody is going to this obscure review website where these reviews are. They're going to Google.
Right.
So we need to get some of these reviews onto Google, and basically we used this as an intro piece to get the dentist to call in and inquire about our review service.
Why is it valuable to get reviews, what we call often testimonials, But why is it valuable to get reviews onto Google's review system?
Well, Google is the #1 search engine in the world.
Right.
So, from a traffic standpoint, most people, when they're looking up a business, will use Google over Yahoo, over Bing. Even before Yahoo and Bing, YouTube, which is owned by Google, is searched for. So
bigger than either one of those other two.
Exactly. So video testimonials on YouTube could be are very important to your credibility, because what a lot of people do, and think of yourself, you could get a word-of-mouth referral from somebody, but oftentimes you will want to go online and check them out first. You obviously trust the person that gave you the referral, but you want to go check their website out, and a lot of times you will even see in the search bar the word reviews will come up automatically. So you type in the business name and Google will basically bring up the reviews in the search bar, and then their Google reviews are going to come up first. So one of the biggest strategies is a strong offense with reviews, because if you don't have a system in place to get those reviews, what you're risking is that negative review to be the only review that gets onto Google. Bad news travels much faster than good news, and if you're not actively soliciting reviews from your raving fans, from your best clients, you're just missing out on a big opportunity, because especially in local marketing for local businesses, the search engine Google is trying to rank all these websites. They can't go and have a transaction with every single business and then rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But for them, what a better way to look at what their customers of that business are saying about the business. So their Google and the search engines are looking at the reviews to rank websites, and we've implemented it for this review system and this review strategy for many businesses throughout the entire country. And what we find is when they have anywhere from like 5 or more, sometimes even 1 or 2 if nobody has any, Google will just bring them right up to the top in their local search market.
Nobody else does.
Exactly.
And it's a great way to get in and get in quick. One of the things that I talk to a lot of people about, and I talk to a lot of people about testimonials and reviews, because it is extremely important. If there's nothing else you do in your business, get reviews or testimonials, whatever you want to call them. But also, by the way, if you put them on the internet, don't call them testimonials. It has a negative concept to people. Reviews has a positive concept, so that's important for them to do. But I try to convince people to do it, and they don't do it. And what I tell them is, and talk to them about is, have you ever bought anything off Amazon.com? Sure we have. Have you ever bought anything off Amazon.com that you did not go to the bottom and look at the reviews? Well, why is that? Because it's important to you. So is it for everybody else. Absolutely. And you're missing the opportunity. Amazon.com is the premier retail website in the United States. If they are doing it, it must be smart.
And obviously, too, I mean, I'm traveling from Connecticut here in Albuquerque, and I don't know all the restaurants around here.
Right.
What's the first thing I do is I go on Google, I type in, restaurant reviews, and Google comes back with now a bar across the entire front page of Google is just basically a picture of the restaurant and their rating with the stars. So, it is becoming more and more important to businesses, and you mentioned it is extremely important, even more so than a website, because you are listed in Google most likely. Even if you don't have a website, you're listed there. So you could have these reviews and not have a website, and you may not agree with the way everything's going online and internet and everything, but you have to be in the game.
You don't have a choice. It is what it is. And it's going to happen to you out there whether you take action on it or not. So take action. So let's go back to your primary business. Sure. We talked a little bit about the fact that you took a lot of your marketing for your own business offline, which was smart. I think it should be a combination of all those things, of both online and offline. So many people want to do it all online because they think it's cheap, and it is, and it gets cheap results in many cases. But tell us a little bit about, from your experience, if our members were going to go out and hire a website company, let's say like yours, to design a website for them, what should they be looking for? What would be the top 2 or 3 things that they ought to look for in somebody to do this, or top 2 or 3 red flags they ought to look for that says this person wouldn't be good for me?
Well, I would tell them to take a step back first and ask, why do you even want a website? What is the goal that you're trying to accomplish? And oftentimes where we get to is, I want to increase sales, I want to increase leads, I want to grow my list, I want to do all those things. And the website and the layout of the website is extremely important. But what I would say is find a company that not only does websites, but can help you with the marketing of the website and driving traffic, whether that's offline traffic, online traffic, a combination of both, because really you want to have your marketing, your traffic, to go to a website with a goal that gets them into a marketing system that is basically cultivating a relationship. And a lot of that today can be put on autopilot. There's so many different resources that we have that can do that. So, to answer your question, I would definitely look at, do I just want a website to have it as a business card? And maybe you do, and that's great. You don't necessarily need to team up with the company that can help you with the marketing side of things. But I know that's one of the questions when I talk to somebody on a strategy session is I'll ask, what is the overall goal here? Are we trying to increase business? Because a lot of times, without getting teamed up with the right company that can help you with the marketing and the website, obviously you're going to spend all your money on a website and get no results.
What would be a sign of somebody that thinks that way? A web development company?
Well, I would obviously, if they don't have the resources to do, video or everything online today is going video, and know about some of the strategies to get you more visibility on Google, and be asking questions like, what is a lead worth to you, and how can we get you more leads, and different strategies like that. If you're not having that type of conversation, chances are they're just a web company. Now, there are great web companies out there, but they form strategic partnerships with other companies that specialize in search engine optimization or video marketing or whatever that particular niche is, and they have those relationships. Now, that person could still be the right fit for you. I would tell you, secondly, there has to be a comfortable feeling, because traditionally, a lot of people will just think they're just throwing up a website to have a website, but that website can be a 24/7 salesperson for your business and for your company.
It should be. It must be.
And they don't call in sick. It really should be a tool to drive sales and be an investment for you. So you want to basically extend that person that firm that you're working with. They're like your internal marketing department. They really can help drive sales with the right fit, obviously.
And one of the most important things in any website is that, at least for most of the people I spend time with in small business, that own small businesses, they really want a website to send a customer to them, to send somebody who might have an interest to them. That means that you need to have a website that has some kind of action-taking process besides just a telephone number and says, please call me sometime whenever you get around to it. You need something that gets them to take action, gets them to tell you that they're out there thinking about it and listening and want more information so that you can become the expert in your particular industry and use that kind of thing.
And to add on top of that, we didn't even talk about mobile at all. So, a third of all internet traffic today are on mobile devices. So if your company that you're working with doesn't even bring up the mobile website, that's a red flag, because today we need to have a website that's properly optimized for computer screens, for the iPad and other tablets, for mobile phones, and if that isn't brought up, that's a red flag, at least being that I am in the business.
As an insider.
Exactly. You need to have that because without it, people will pull up your website on their phone and it's going to be hard to read. I mean, with a properly optimized mobile website, you can click a call to action, call us, and it's going to automatically dial the number right to the business. So why not take advantage of that technology? And, again, like I said, it can really turn into be a sales person, outproduce an entire sales team for your company with the right strategy and the right setup and the right team that you're working with.
One last thing before we go. I know that one of the big things that you do as a part of your marketing system with your existing customers, and maybe even with new clients, we'll talk about that a little bit, is you use a printed newsletter that you send out to customers. Tell me a little bit about that process, what you do, and why you value that.
Well, with today, the internet and email, we're finding that open rates are getting less and less online. So an offline newsletter, something that somebody can feel, is getting much better conversions overall compared to just doing an email newsletter. And a lot of times when I talk about newsletters, especially with my clients, they'll be like, oh, but it's so expensive. But the reality is again, it's an investment. And you can put calls to action in your newsletter so that the newsletter is not expensive. It's making you money. And that's where, teaming up with a company that specializes in newsletters can really help you move that side of your marketing area forward.
And there's all kinds of strategies we use in newsletters. I just want to bring that up because it is one of the best strategies you can use in your business. And I know that you use it, and you use it a lot. I think you even send more than one newsletter, don't you?
Yeah, we have like a high-end newsletter for some bigger clients that will actually include an audio CD. That's a point too, that not only are we using bank bags to get through the clutter, but inside the bank bag is an audio CD with a personalized name of the prospect. And again, it's because I know the business owner is not necessarily going to go just to a website, but they may throw that audio CD in their car. We put right on the CD, play in your car, and I can have one-on-one time with that prospect by using a traditional method. And of course, there's calls to action to our website for them to get a free report or a free video series or that sort of stuff. But you want to use that sort of out-of-the-box multiple medias to hit people in different ways.
Good. As we wrap up, based on the idea of really getting out there and taking action, because a lot of people struggle with that, what's the one advice you'd give folks out there who are just getting started in this whole process of using some of these unusual marketing systems that they would think, most people would think are unusual, that now become very usual with you, right? They're kind of normal. What would you say would be the first thing that you would, or biggest advice you would give them for just getting things implemented? To get started, you have to be in the right mindset. And to take action, you have to be in the right mindset. So for me, I actually was very excited to watch Walter Bergeron, the previous year's marketer of the year. 2012's Marketer of the Year.
And I would watch and rewatch his presentation that he gave because he was at a point where his business wasn't where he wanted it to be. And, that's where I was a couple years ago. And, I didn't know if I sent these out. I was so scared when I sent these out because I didn't know if it was going to work. And I didn't want to keep throwing money away. And I basically looked to success stories of other people and modeled what they did. So if you remember, Walter had multiple newsletters. He was doing boomerangs. He was doing bank bags. He was doing this kind of stuff. And one of the things that he did was that briefcase, where he couldn't necessarily, he didn't want to send a salesman physically across the country, but he sent this box. And when they opened this box, this briefcase, a video would play automatically. So I modeled that, but in my world, I didn't want to send a briefcase necessarily to a dentist. Mm-hmm. So at one of the GKIC events, we discovered these video books. And we created this book, and the first one we did actually had their name on it. We personalized with the prospect's name, but what we found is the dentist was willing to send it back to us. And when we first started using these, I mean, these were like 65, 70 bucks a piece. Now they've come down considerably. But what happens is when the gatekeeper gets this, if they open the package, a priority mail envelope, and they see a video play,
hey, Jimmy Nichols here. I'm the 2000.
Automatically, they're like, oh my gosh. And we would personalize it with the dentist name. It's definitely getting to the dentist. So, you looked to other people and modeled what they did. The whole 3D mail results.com, Travis's company, he gives you these letters. and all you have to do is basically change your business name, change the offer up a little bit, and send it out. And, that to me was the biggest thing because, I really believe that success breeds success. So I wanted to surround myself with successful people, and it's not like I could necessarily talk to Walter, but I could read his book, I could watch his videos that were out there, and it gave me the inspiration to, move forward and take the leap of faith that sending out these boomerangs would work.
You told me you started this unusual marketing system that you're now kind of showing everybody about a year and a half ago. What kind of impact has that had on your business?
It's
growth-wise.
It's completely decreased our over advertising costs. Where like I said, I invested over $100,000 in traditional marketing. Now we've cut that in half. My business is more profitable from a growth standpoint. We're on pace to double and it's not like we're doubling zero. You
had a pretty substantial company to start with.
Exactly, but I wasn't reaching the goals that I wanted to reach. So by combining all these things and implementing and taking action, we are growing and able to kind of choose who we want to work with and what we want to do and be more selective and
you get more for what you do each time you do it.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Jimmy, for being with us today. I really appreciate you being on our call and our time together today. And you can take action yourself. If you just take a little action, get something to happen, you'll be amazed at the results. If you add all these things up, add a little more action, by this time next year, you can have an amazingly different business if you'll just take action. Thank you again for being with us, Jimmy. And you guys have a great day. We're changing the economy one entrepreneur at a time.